Hello everyone, and welcome back to episode 3 of CU SMP. The last episode we worked on this path here, along with these lanterns here, to give a nice walkway through the base. And I've done a few little details I've added off camera here. I tried adding some water in some of the guttering like I'd mentioned. I'm not 100% sure on that. I think it looks okay, but I'm not yet sold on it. So that, yeah, again, all subject to change. And I also added some iron bars here, as I realised I forgot to add those to this base. I intended to have those as an extra detail, and I completely forgot about that. So those have now been added. Another thing I realised was these lampposts. I wanted to have the levers facing that way, so that they are acting as supports for the pillars rather than supports for the lamps, which they are right here. There we go. Much better. Now that's done, we're going to spend the rest of this episode focusing on this quadrant here, my little archery minigame area / area for my Fletcher villagers. Because I want to have like a fun little minigame, my friends can come and just play, shoot a few arrows, and test their skills. Now for this minigame, we're going to make use of these target blocks, and for the actual intended purpose. Most of the time, redstone contraptions are not actually used as targets, but they're used to redirect redstone lines. We're actually going to use them as targets. So, for those of you who don't know, if you shoot a target block and you have a bad aim, like say hit there, it will only give out a weak signal strength from the comparator. But if I hit bullseye, it gives much stronger signal strength. And this is the mechanic I want to use in our minigame. Now I could just place a fence like that, take my target block, place my target block on top, get some other block, and feed the redstone out of the system like this down, and feed the redstone down underneath somewhere to register your signal strength. And that would work. But let's be honest, this looks a bit out of place. It doesn't really feel right. I could decorate this up a bit, make it look a bit nicer. But I don't know, having a bunch of these around, I feel like it would just fill up the space very quickly. I'd like to use a bit more compact redstone than this to make it, look a bit nicer. And to do that, I reckon we should jump into my redstone testing world. Okay, so here we are with a bunch of different designs of ways I could do this, and I think I'm just going to go through each of them, explain my thought process behind them, and what we're going to end up going with. So this was the first design, as you guys have already seen. I realised you don't need a comparator here, it just has a signal strength already without the comparator, so that's fine. So it already saw that gives a high signal strength versus a low signal strength depending on where you hit the target block. So my first idea was, what if we just cover this up? So it's all the same under here, same redstone, but it's just hidden this little long trough, and yeah. This doesn't look very good. It's very big, very long, and it's not going to fit well inside my inside the archery course. This won't fit very well. So the next idea I had was just, well, what if we forget about signal strength for a second and just detect shooting. So if I shoot this in anywhere, the piston fires, and we can detect, oh, you've hit the target, which is something, but it's a stationary target. It's not that impressive to be able to hit a single block with an arrow from not that far away. And this was just me, same system, but me just decorating up a bit, making it look a little bit nicer. Then similar system, a bit smaller, but it's not got a nice fence post underneath, was just use an observer. And same here, you can see if I shoot this, there you go, you can see it triggers when you shoot it, and I was just hiding it with trapdoors as well, which is another possibility. This next one was another attempt at picking up signal strength, this time trying to lock down the signal strength right here, so I'd only then have to send, if this succeeded or not, down with this observer to kind of make it not as long as the ones back there, but it didn't do that good job, and it was also then becoming much wider, which I didn't like the look of. So then the final signal strength attempt I had was this one here, which I think looks fairly decent. It's fairly compact. It's a bit more compact than that one down there. If you look, it's got 3 blocks behind it, and there's only 2 blocks behind the stair, and I think it doesn't look too bad, so I might scatter a few of these in the course, we'll see. But this one does in fact transmit signal strength. As you can see, I'm feeding it through the comparator into this solid block, which will then power this redstone line here, which can go under the glass it's sitting on down below, which means you can see a bit of the redstone, a bit of it's on the show, but it's not too bad. I think this could definitely work. Then I can compare this against redstone strength and basically just factor out so that doesn't count on, so that didn't even hit, factor out so that, for instance, won't count on most on ones like this, if I want to go for that. I then thought, well, what if we, instead of checking signal strength like this, rather than checking signal strength, why don't we just check and have it so that we test reaction time. So you gotta shoot it while it pops up, and if it's not popped up, then well, tough luck, you've missed your shot and you've only got a limited number of arrows to do it. And this, so that was one idea, it pops up. Another idea was having the trapdoors open temporarily, but also shooting it would open them, so it kind of creates a bit of a weird feedback loop there. And my final idea, this is a failed version of it, but my final idea was to do armor stands. So I press this button, an armor stand launches up, and I have limited time to shoot it. I'm in creative mode. We go into survival for this, actually the armor stand drops. But I have limited time to shoot the armor stand, and it will drop as an item, which then gets picked up and detected. In theory, that, yep, there you go. Gets detected as a point because I destroyed the armor stand. If it falls on that block, it has a system underneath to detect it. If it falls on one of the other mud blocks, there are hoppers there. Let's go into spectator and have a look at this. So what we have here is armor stand spawned here, launched up behind this. These blocks get retracted out of the way so you can stand on here temporarily. If it lands on any of the mud blocks, it will get picked up by these hoppers and come down here and goes through these hoppers and gets detected as a point through here. Or if it comes through this hopper line here, it also gets detected as a point, and that's when it has dropped as an item on the block here and is therefore fallen through here, gets pushed out by the pistons behind these pistons here, and it lands in the water but on this mud and gets sucked in by this hopper here. If it's not been shot, however, you will not get a point. If I just let this do its thing, it will pop up. In fact, we can see in spectator mode. It will then go down, get destroyed here, and collected and recycled back into the system, but it will not count as a point. It does not. If we just sit here this time, rather than having a look at the redstone, it drops back down, and no point will be given to you because it's been collected, so it has not been destroyed. As you can see, no redstone lamps turned on. Now I'm quite happy with this design. It took me quite a while to get it working. Now this block here is very important as I don't have a space for a hopper under here due to all of the pistons and everything. So I didn't have a space under the mud to collect a hopper, to collect the block, otherwise it'd go here. So I've added a little just back detail here to prevent the item from dropping on here, because if it did, it wouldn't get picked up by the system and you wouldn't get a point. So those are the different designs I considered for this project, from the just cover up and hope approach to the forget about signal strength altogether and just be got to hit anywhere, to the, well, this could work as a signal strength, which I might use this one a bit, to the, well, what if we retract the blocks and you've got to hit them at a certain time to get it, to the forget target blocks that lets you use armor stands and just go full over engineering this thing like that. So that's all the designs that I worked on to try and work this out, and I think the ones I'll probably end up going with will be a combination of this signal strength, so stationary targets you can use to get some points, and you get more points if you're accurate, but these will probably be further away, so you'll need to like get good accuracy. There'll probably be a few on the ground that pop up with a certain amount of time that you can hit and try to take out, and then there'll probably be like maybe one or two armor stands, maybe only one, because the redstone for this takes up quite a bit of space. As you can see, I am not a professional redstoner. I don't know what I'm doing for the most part when I'm making these things, so it is not compact, but it works. Okay, so now we're back on the server, and I think I can remove this now that I know what I'm doing. Before we get started on this, I think there's another issue to deal with first, and that's this. Well, I don't think the redstone will stretch far enough to really cause issues with my growing shulker monster of a storage system. It probably will, or at least could, encroach upon my temporary enchant setup that I don't really use, to be honest, but it's sitting here, so it kind of probably needs to move. So I'm just going to quickly handle that. I should probably name these guys at some point. Right now they're just the cat I have sitting here and the dog I have sitting here with no other context as to their existence. Is it on the campfire? There you go. Okay, there you go. Now we've got a bit more space. I think this should be enough for the redstone. We can start to plan out what targets we want to have to shoot. Okay, so you'll probably shoot from somewhere like here-ish, I'd imagine. Now I reckon we use red wool for your stationary accuracy targets, yellow wool for the pop-up targets, and purple wool for the armor stand. Okay, so we probably want the armor stand to go in the middle here. I thought that'd be a cool little thing, almost like on a pedestal maybe. I can kind of get a bit. I don't know if a pedestal will work, but have it. The armor stand about here, and then maybe in the corner here have. I believe it's like one of the little accuracy targets. Have a couple here that just kind of pop up. Okay, so I've got another colour of wool here, but I was thinking, what if I have like in a corner there, for instance, we have ones that are like harder to hit. So it has like a stair or something blocking part of it, so it's much harder to actually get the hit on thing. Maybe that's worth points. Maybe another one like back in this corner or something. Like there's some like more harder hits. They're not moving, but they're like a bit of a pain to try and like shoot. I think definitely messing with line of sight will help in trying to make these shots much harder. But yeah, I think this is a good start. I think this is a good place to start. I'm happy with this rough layout of targets. Again, as with basically everything in my base, it's subject to change, especially as I'm just planning this out. But I feel like the next thing to do is try to get the redstone in for the armor stand launcher, because that's kind of the biggest one I've got to try and deal with. And here we have the redstone for the archery game basically done at this point. I intended to just do the armor stand in the middle there and then cut back, but I got carried away and just got into the problem solving headspace and did it all. So let's have a look at all the redstone. I actually ran out of colours of wool out of just my small, I think 6 colours or something I had for my wool farm. So this is all I got. I had to reuse colours of wool and it looks like an absolute mess. I know what's going on here, but barely. It's a lot of stuff. It definitely could probably be much more compact, much nicer. But I made it myself, and I think that's pretty cool. So to start the game, we just press this button to send off the chest, which will contain our score when it comes back. The game should start. I'd like to add some note blocks to indicate when things start and when you get points and all of that. But basically, to do that, I also want to modify so it's a different target, so worth different amount of points, because currently I think the best strategy is just spamming the stationary targets like this. I think we'll just get loads of points. So I want to make these other targets actually worth the points to go for them, because otherwise you might as well just go for these ones here and you'll probably get the most points. So I need to fix that. And okay, that armor stand's not getting picked up for some reason, so that's weird. That doesn't normally happen. Yeah, overall I think this is going quite well. It's all functional at this point. I'm very happy with the redstone, and we'll see what score I managed to get once we finish. Obviously, when people are actually playing, they won't have fire on all their arrows, so it'll be a bit easier to see. I can't even see that target now at this point. Oh, also, these will pop up a bit once the chest's back, just because of the way the redstone works. It won't give you any points that way, though. And if we look, you got 9 gold nuggets. I got a score of 9 in there. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the functionality of this now. As I said, there's a few changes like scoring and sound for audio cues I'd like to add, but I also want to make this look nicer. So that's what we're gonna do now, probably in time lapse. So let's go and make this look pretty and fit with the paths we made last episode. Let's go. And here's the finalised design for the archery course. Now, I'm not 100% happy with it. Mainly this net back here feels a bit weird, I don't know. So if anyone has any ideas on how to make that look better, I'd love to know. But overall, I think it fits in. It kind of stands out a bit from just the regular border, being a bit darker. But I think it looks quite good from a distance. If we fly up, it's quite a nice little thing to have there. I think it'll work quite well when we start adding in more buildings and everything. And then here we've got a little temporary structure. I'll probably completely redo this when we work on the Fletcher's hut, Fletcher's selling thing, because these will probably link up more. But it's a temporary structure for now to show off this is what the chest is. You press this button, it goes. I'll probably add in a dispenser around here and a lectern to explain how the game works for people who want to play it. But other than that, this is done. And I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the gameplay. As I mentioned earlier, I want to make some tweaks to it, but with all my explanation of the different targets and everything, it's going to be quite a redstone heavy episode, and I don't know much about what I'm actually doing with that. It's a little trial and error, and I don't want to bore you guys with me placing down observers and all this just to try it out and get away for it to be a bit more balanced. So I'll probably just do that off camera after this episode. But this project basically done, and we're ready to next head on and work on the different stalls for my villagers here and here. Yeah, I think overall I'm happy with how this has looked. I think it's a good addition to the base, and I'll make some tweaks to it in the future, I'm sure. But I think that's about all we have time for today. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy this video, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and leave me a comment on any ways you think I could improve this and make it better, be that the redstone side of things or the appearance or the video itself. I'm still trying to learn all this stuff. It'd be great if you could leave a comment if you have any ideas. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye everyone.